There's a big terror radius.
Ooh. Or maybe he's just close to you.
No, I could see how far away he was.
I can see that.
Or maybe he's close to you, immediately gets chainsawed.
Being close to you.
I am the hero the city needs. Stacks.
Me, Chase.
Oh, neat. Oh, this way. Is he he's... What you doing, man? Oh, he's camping. What a legend. No, don't go towards him.
Oh, sorry, Boo.
Oh, someone else already unhooked him. I'll take a hit. I'll take a hit. He's going right after you. He doesn't even want to take a hit from me. I'm running after him. Oh, you want to... I trapped him. Oh man, hold on, I'll read that there in a second. He didn't swing through the pallet. I dead hearted through the pallet and he didn't even swing. 450 of your points were just eaten. You want to request an invisible gameplay session and didn't let you request a character. He used up my decisive strike as I was being hooked. Not like this. Ooh. Yeah, I think he was aiming for me, but borrowed time. It's pretty good. Oh. Window. Whee! This bit, I love this bit. I can run him around here for a little while. What are you chainsawing for? I'm around Dimitri. Okay. He's vaulting it.
Nice. Nice. You're going around the... Ow.
Okay, we're going to the shack. Oh. I made him swing at nothing. I pressed the button to throw the pallet. It even showed me starting to throw the pallet and he hit me.
I think that if the killer is like right on the pallet in the center of it, you can't actually drop it.
I was dropping it before then. Or at least I thought I was. What do you do now, Hans? Yeah, Streamlabs isn't exactly something that needs to be open. I'm running Streamlabs OBS. It's the same thing. It's all built into one. That's very odd. Can you get refunded since the stream said no? I'll check after this game. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, man. He's showing his dominance and the fact that he has a big penis by grabbing his chainsaw in front of me. Do generators. Do generators, I'm stalling.
Gonna do a little bit of regression.
And he'll try once more, alrighty. What a guy. Also, yeah, there will be a flashlight under me if anyone wants it when I die. Yellow. What a guy. Striking some salt in the mines, I guess. Right as I die, there's like the very end of the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe soundtrack credits theme, which I just started replaying again, and it was like the finale, or it's like the outro kind of bit. Right as I died, that was crazy. Anyway, let's open up. Where is it? Live here. Rip you. Redemptions. Yeah, it shows up here,
Oh,
but I don't.
oh, look at that. That was beautiful.
But it didn't show up as an alert for some reason. Anyway, he has Insidious 2, Lightborn 1, Tinkerer 3, Enduring 3. He had the Bloody Party Streamers. He has a faster chainsaw. And yeah, he has a bit of a faster chainsaw. 600 points were eaten. I did refund some of them on. And I, like, accepted one of them. One of the sets. Is what I did.
Oof.
Sound effect included. Not rip your 600 point taunt. It I refunded most of them and then accepted one of them. Is what I did. But yeah, this killer is not fun. Well, before I forget, oh, I'll do that, I guess. This guy.
For the backwards. Oh.
This user has also played as I'm gonna camp you.
Nice. I love especially when people play Bully or Nurse and they camp with it. Because you're given the killer with the highest mobility in the game and he's gonna stand still.
Because reasons. He had to rev his chainsaw in front of me to show that he had a big penis, don't you know? Doesn't not let me comment. I want to comment the campfire song. That's what I usually do. Dang it, doesn't let me.
He's chasing after me, love. Go get him. Oh, he's
Doesn't look like this.
Doesn't let me then. Doesn't let me do that. Dang.
Well, now he's just staring at it.
Do it, Jenny.
Oof.
Oh. David's being chased. Looks like he respects pallets.
He's too scared to get hit. Hey, I'm just full on. Go for that shit.
This David does not look behind him when he runs at all. Except when he's throwing pallets. Now he's in a dead zone, so he's pretty much done for.
Shit.
Well, at least that means I can finish this.
Yeah, you're both working on generators. Wheatley's further though.
Where?
Well, almost 3/4 of the way.
Good moves.
Azush.
Does David have adrenaline?
No, he only has Dead Hard 1.
I don't know. I have adrenaline.
He only has Dead Hard 1.
Oof. Yeah, I don't think he's gonna leave that guy.
Yeah, no.
Probably not. He needs to show his superiority after all.
Never mind.
Yeah, no, he's not.
Staying near Hook's guy. Superiority shown. Whoa. Thought for sure he would have gone for. Oh, is this gonna be the legendary unbreakable play?
If somebody's over here to heal me, that would be great, because he's chasing that guy.
Oh, I was gonna hit him. That's weird. You can fall to me.
Good place to be. If there's anyone nearby, that is.
Well, if there's anyone nearby.
Yeah, it doesn't look like. Nobody sent messages in the substream chat. I'm not sure what that means. Oh, wait, I do know what that means. Okay. I usually just made that for sub commands, but okay. This man had to show his superiority, I guess. Where's David going? Oh, he's going to the closed door. Rude, Carvia. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, it was indeed. He's opening the other door. So I assume he'll get it open in time. Alright. I know what to say here. Guess I'll turn off my camera doing that because no one wants to see me just typing.
Well, at least I got toxic David out.
Ow.
He's like, Wrecking garbage kids.
What a guy. Also, it doesn't give me a report option for some reason. I don't know why.
Pretty sure they shut that down because it was doing so badly.
Oh.
How bad we talking about? Oh no, if the
basically, you'll
report
get
key
it.
is gone,
You'll get.
just go back and forth.
Oh.
But yeah. Some people, I must say.
Some people. Like that one salty person that I didn't save because they were just running in circles. They couldn't find you. So I just let her die. She couldn't find her way to the goddamn basement of the game, which is like the most easy thing to find.
To be honest, I probably could have just used Unbreakable instead of crawling away and I would have lived, but...
By the way, how old do you think this guy is? If you had to estimate.
Probably like
12.
Probably.
Somewhere
I'm going
from
with 12.
to 15.
Get wrecked, you garbage kids. Shit stream, shut it down, you're trash. Not gonna read that. You fucking suck, you dork. Get farmed.
Why is the trash can trying to insult trash?
I mean, I could always.
trash. That buried its trash inside the trash can. So it can fall
That's
in
too
trash
existential
cans.
for me.
God damn it.
Anyway, what can I even do here? I can do that. Yeah. And I can do that. Sure that. Yeah. Neat. Thank you for reporting offensive content and helping to keep Steam clean and friendly. Yay. Wonderful.
But is it gonna
I
happen?
wouldn't exactly
No.
say you're not an offensive person, but that's okay.
That's offensive. I find that offensive.
Yeah, but it didn't happen in the game, so what are you gonna do about it?
Yay.
Hell on you.
Oh boy. Hot, it's your time to shine. You got this. Actually, you can decide what to do, man. You got it. Get shit on you, 12-year-old. I'm 19, you idiot. Oh man.
It's no fucking team.
What? What do you say?
No fucking team.
Yeah. Look at the stream chat.
Nah, I'm pretty sure as soon as I get there, it's gonna go.
Virgin alert, I'm out of here. You know, the fact that you came here in the first place says a lot more about you than it does about me. Just saying. The fact that you came here in the first place. The fact that talking shit in the chat after the game wasn't enough for you, and the fact that you came here says so much about you.
I got time.
If it's a shit stream, why do you want to watch it? I mean, honestly.
I was kind of hoping you wouldn't have banned him yet. I was going to ask what he did for a living. Probably nothing. Yeah, pretty much, Garbia.
What enemy?
Some people just have to show their superiority in the fact that they have a very large penis. That's what they have to prove.
You know, that is like the third time that your audio cut out right when you said this.
Fun.
My love, this is the last game.
Okay.
Because I have to go to bed when you turn buck.
Okay, look.
Cheapos, I wake up at night.
Oh my god, excuse me.
But yeah.
I feel my lactose intolerant right
I turned to push to talk, so they can't hear me right now. So, kind of just talking about that, I guess. Hold on. Let's deafen for a second. No, you don't have to remove the ban now. It's probably gone. Though if he isn't, then that's gonna say a lot about him. That'd actually be pretty wacky. But yeah, just the people like that, it's very difficult to believe that people like that are in the world. People that don't have the comprehensive ability to recognize other people at all, pretty much. Because, like, when you're looking at a username on a screen, some people just seem to think that that's someone that doesn't matter in any way at all. That they're, like, the only one that matters. It may as well be, like, they're playing against computers. And it really makes me wonder what kind of conditions someone has to be raised in to think such a way. Really. To think such a way that anyone who isn't them and anyone that they don't see, like, at all, is just complete and utter trash. The fact that some people just think that way is, quite frankly, pathetic. And the fact that there's so many people like that, where you're looking at usernames on a screen, but they aren't just computers, they aren't just people that won't matter in any way at all. They're real living beings, and every single one of them has a story behind them. Every person has their own story. So every single username on the screen that you see is someone with hopes, dreams, aspirations, a tale, probably many phases that they've had to go through to get to where they are today, goals that they want to set for themselves, things that they're trying to achieve in life, and things that they're trying to achieve by playing this game, whether it's like having fun and interacting with others or just having a good time, really. And the fact that people can look at these names on the screen and see them just as that, not having the comprehensive ability to see anything more than that, is honestly just frightening for what some people are like and what they'll grow up to be, honestly. Killer's right here. Okay, that guy had to throw the pallet. But yeah, like telling someone doing absolutely nothing to you, just playing a game, that's it, and then saying such things as that, like without knowing anything about the person. Like Carvey and I were having a chat about this before. Like what if someone was actually suicidal and you told them to kill themselves just because you beat them or something like that, or because they beat you or whatever, it doesn't matter, just because they exist in the world. Like just checking lockers, but like something that I'd want to do is view all people equally, but people like that, I honestly can't help but view them as the absolute scum of the earth. If I'm gonna be completely honest. Chase me through the pallet. Okay. But okay, he's dead on hook. But yeah, we're all on this planet together. We have to be cooperating if we want to make the world a better place. And then, like, the world has seen such terrible things over time, and I just want to help make the world better. I waited for the third swipe and he still got me, but with myself personally, like, I hit it. But when, like, this is somewhat related, I guess, but when I was really young and I learned about all the stuff that's going on in the world and what a terrible impact people make on it in general, I honestly thought as a kid that I should not exist in the world at all, that I will generate so much trash and pollution that me experiencing my life at the cost of that would not even be worth it. That the best thing to do was honestly to never have existed in the first place, and to honestly just kill myself because the world would be better without another single human in it, is what I had thought. So when I decided not to was when I figured that I would devote my life to helping make the world a better place, to helping spread positivity, help protect this world, and yeah, that I'm not gonna kill myself. Okay. What the heck, dude? Yeah, people like that right there. The heck? Yeah, that's a good question, Haunt. Legit kill you in a video game and you're crying. You have to evaluate your life, bro. Your Pokemon posters on your wall and a 4-year-old is saying my love. What the heck? Okay. Yeah, there's literally an example of that. Like the fact that people can't, that they don't have the cognitive ability to acknowledge that other people are real, that they're not just usernames on a screen, basically. Oops. I don't think I can do this game right now. I need to rant, I guess. Probably just the same person on another account, which, like, is honestly pathetic. The fact that some people just look down on others so much just for being a human that exists in this world is frankly completely pathetic. Don't know how else to say it. But yeah, as I was saying before, I only decided to keep living my life because I wanted to help make the world a better place and to spread positivity, help save this planet, and just do whatever I can to help improve it. And then there's people like that that just aren't capable of comprehending that other people just like them have a story to tell. They have their own experiences and life. Tell you one thing, you don't give a fuck, Days. See ya. And it honestly makes me wonder what some people have to have gone through being raised in order to have, like come to that conclusion that it's all right. In fact, that it is the correct thing to do to be insulting people just because of the fact that there's someone else that exists in the world. Like, a second ban in a day. Yeah, same person probably. It feels good, man. But yeah, that's part of the reason why I started streaming as well, is because I want to help be a positive influence. I want to, like, let people know how important it is to be the best person that you can be. Like, have fun reading through all your messages above. But ow. How else can I put it, I guess? There's just so many atrocities going on in the world right now. It's frankly quite fitting for the word atrocious, I guess. Like, look, if you look into some of the stuff that's going on in the world nowadays, there's genocides that are still going on just because people look slightly different. There's young women who are taken from their homes and sold into the sex trade to be raped. And this is all stuff that's currently going on. And there's people that all over the world that are suicidal and depressed and just completely done with the world. This world is a very awful place a lot of the time. So the best thing that we can really do right now is just try to make it as best we can to put in the effort to make it a better place, to acknowledge what the terrible things are going on, whether it's on an individual case or a large scale case, like in different places of the world. But yet, despite everything that's going on and how many problems there are and how much of an influence words can have on people, some people just are incapable of realizing that what they say means something, really. Like, I really don't understand, I don't think I'll ever understand how someone can come to the conclusion that being someone that is literally trying to get people to kill themselves over the internet is a positive thing. Like, what do you have to go through being raised to think that that's all right? Like, maybe they're abused or something like that. Yeah, that is a good point. Maybe it is how they escape from reality. Like, maybe they've been abused in some way and they need to, like, vent and take it out on someone else or something like that. Maybe they genuinely have problems and need to seek help. That's one thing that really comes to mind. And yeah, this is the world. As I mentioned before, starting streaming was part of, like, my mission that I set out for my own life of helping to make the world a better place and helping to spread positivity, bring things to people's attention, and really emphasize how important it is to be the best person that you can be. And yeah, that's a good point, Josh and Al. Sometimes demon takes over. But the fact that people will let that happen against someone that they don't even know, someone that they have never met, will never meet, and they can have such an influence on through their words, is just, I lost track of that sentence, I guess. But when they let that out against other people without knowing any of their story, without knowing any of what their conditions are going through life and what impact they'll have from their words, is completely arrogant and pathetic. There's too many people that aren't capable of acknowledging that they aren't the only person that's important, that every living being on this planet is something that needs to be treated with respect, really. And like, I believe it's just a common part of psychology, honestly. Like, if you, yeah, everybody has a demon, but we as people have to control it. Yeah, it's a conversation, something you're gonna rethink about sometimes. Yeah, that's good to hear. But in my study of psychology, one of the points that we had discussed there was that, like, people generally, when they have the mask of anonymity, they feel a lot more free to be doing whatever they, as I mentioned before, you're not really capable of comprehending that these other people exist. And the other thing is, when it comes to the arrogance of some people, as I learned in psychology, is when it comes to various illnesses, like say cancer, there's just a part in everyone's head that is like, that's not going to happen to me. It's not going to happen. Like, think about it. Think about yourself. Think about like some sort of obscure deadly disease that you're very unlikely to get, like it's less than 1% of a chance. And there's just a part in your head that's fairly certain that it's like, that can't happen to me. It's me. It can't happen to me. I think it's something very similar to that makes a lot of people believe that as they're going through life, this is all their story, and that's the only thing that they need to worry about. Where when it comes to obscure things like that, where it's like, it's me, it's not gonna happen to me. There's stuff like that where it's like, I'm gonna be a massive dick on the internet and nothing's gonna affect me, because I can be however I like. This is my story. This is my life. I've only ever experienced life from my own eyes, and that's all I need to worry about. Like, there's too many people that see things that way. There's too many people that see things like that really pulls back the world. It's too many people like that really pull progress back in time, honestly. What with some people trying to pass some things. Just say a quick night here. But yeah, just comprehending each individual person. Something that I've been thinking about a lot lately, honestly, when it comes to each individual person, is actually the concept of death. Honestly, I've been thinking a lot about that. What it means for a life to be gone. So, like, in thinking about that, I've just thought about, like, what if it were me? Think about everything that I've done so far in these 19 years that I've been on this earth. All the progress that I've made from, like, everything in grade school, all the experiences I've had, like, exchange trip to Germany, stuff, obscure stuff like that. My studies in computer science, my love for computers, my streaming that I've started, my love for music. All these details that I know about myself. Like, all this progress that has been made over so much time. Like, the fact that when it comes to death, I guess, that all being gone, it really brings more value to lives in my own head when I think about it that way, where it's like, there's something like this but different for every single person on this earth. Where, for me, it's what I just explained, all these loves of mine, my love for Nintendo games, my experiences in the past, like depressions that I've been in before, fearing other people, stuff like that, being pulled out of that by my insanely kind German exchange partner, all the different interests that I've had, the goals that I've set for myself, all the different things that I strive to achieve. Like, for example, every single year on my birthday, I always go to my local humane society, a shelter for animals, and I always donate a lot of money for my birthday. Like, all these things that I've set out to do, to think that there's something different for every single person, and to think that that's what every single life is. Every single one of these usernames behind the screen that I'm looking at aren't just names that are talking in the chat there. They're all people that are like that, with all separate but different, all these different kind of points as well, that are different from my own, but are equally important, just the same, that they have their own things to tell. And back to the original topic, I guess, just the fact that people haven't taken the time to see this, I guess. That people don't take the time to consider this. They don't sit down for that, and they just look at names on the screen just like that. It's just a name on the screen. That's all it is. So because it's just a name on the screen, I can say whatever I want to them. I can tell them, you're bad, kid. What was that guy saying before? Like, you're bad, I smell virgin, I better go. The fact that he was making the effort to go to all that, the fact that he was making that much effort to go and harass someone that he doesn't even know, it really just makes you wonder. And to think that that person is their own story with their own experiences. No, I'll read this first. You know, hard to take seriously. You're hard to be serious. Usually the comic relief and the motivation, not the guy who gets into deep stuff. But this moment is something you can't not take seriously. You're not going to be able to sleep tonight. And in conclusion, fuck them. Yeah, I guess so. But something else that I want to mention is something that my head instructor of my Taekwondo school actually mentioned. There's only really one instructor for the adult team, so it's always the same guy all the time. But one thing that he had told to us once, it was in the middle of self-defense class. So we were talking about how, like, various methods that we defend ourselves. Like if a punch comes in, there's methods that you can use to block that, lock their arm and break it if you want to. But what he had mentioned was if it's something just as simple as a punch, then if you can control it, like if you can control the situation, then you shouldn't be going to that much effort. You shouldn't be going as far as, say, breaking their arm. Like if they have a knife or something and your life's in danger, then sure, do what you gotta do to make sure that they can't attack you again. But what he had said to us, which I truly believe myself, is no person is born evil. Like, the way that he put it was, every person is born perfect, and it's from there that your experiences begin to shape who you are, that turn you into the person that you grow into. But initially starting, no one starts out the way that that one person did. For example, there have been events in their life, probably, unless they have some sort of mental issues, which is possible, I suppose. But ignoring that possibility, there's something that they've gone through in their life to bring them to where they are right there. So when it's someone coming into the Twitch chat like that to be a complete pathetic loser, basically, it makes you wonder what experiences they went through to get there. So was it that they were completely neglected growing up or something like that? And because of that, they need to lash out, and like, let's say they have no one in real life to lash out to without receiving punishment. The only ones that they can lash out to in safety is people online. I think I may have just answered my own questions. I think that there's a lot of people who are so fed up with what's going on in their own lives that they have nowhere else to lash out. So they lash out like the one safe place that they can, which is online, and you can't sleep. That's no bueno. I'm afraid this conversation wouldn't exactly help you out, Anima, I'm sorry. But yeah, all that together where it's like they need somewhere to lash out, and they do that because they can't comprehend what other people's lives, I guess. It's an interesting situation. And you just came in and you have no idea what's going on, Wheatley. We were just talking about basically how the thought process behind people who like to harass others online, where there's all that. I've been talking about like all the problems in the world and the importance of being positive, I guess, and talked about how important each individual life is, and talked about like what brings people to that point. Don't like those people? Yeah, I would agree. But as I was mentioning before, as my head instructor was saying, no person is born evil. If you're defending yourself from an attacker, don't go overboard. Don't do more than you have to do. If they're if there's someone in an alley that's like attacking you with a punch, even though you're capable of it, as we are in that class, you shouldn't have to go as far as, say, breaking their arms or dislocating their shoulders, stuff like that. Just get them in a position where they can't be attacking you anymore, and try to solve the problem with words. Honestly, what they say there is try to solve the problem with words before even engaging with them. You're supposed to do whatever you can to not have an attack even start in the first place, basically. Like, they had even said, like, if someone asks for your wallet, the easiest thing is to just give it to them if it's not too valuable. But if they're in a position where, like, you now have superiority over them, like you've locked their arm or something like that, then I don't know if this was ever mentioned in class, but this is something that I personally do, is I would try to solve their own problem, because like no person is born with bad intentions. That's just not how it works. Something happened in their life to bring them to where they currently are. So if someone was attacking me and I managed to take them down onto the ground, I would inquire about like what's going on with them. Like, what brought them to this point? Like, if they're trying to steal from me, like, why are you trying to steal from me? Like, why do you need this money? What's this problem? And I'd honestly try to help them solve it if I can, if they calm down and they'll hear me out. I'd ask if they could tell me their story and try to help bring them closure. If someone throws a punch at you, throw one back, Haunt. No one's born evil, but if you keep diving down in the darkness, you get hooked on it. Yeah, that's definitely a large problem for sure. Where, as we were mentioning before, a lot of times no one's born like that, but chances are, probably the most common thing is they may need to lash out, and if they can't lash out at anyone in real life, then they lash out at like the people that's safe to do it on, so random people that they don't even know. And yeah, they begin to see that as their normal. That begins to become their world view, where this is what they have to do. Like, this is what they as an individual have set out to do now. Carvey, I really hope though those people didn't ruin your day. To be honest, words you hurt sometimes, so you can understand if you're feeling met right now. Do remember they have all of us here to support you. Obviously, you and your streams mean a lot to us, or else we wouldn't be coming here so often. You're a really great person, and you have great respect for me. Keep your head held high, and don't let this one person bring you down, especially when you've got us to back you up. Keep being awesome, amigo. This man has wise words. I really appreciate it, Carvia. This isn't really about them specifically. Like, this has happened before. This has happened before that people have come into the chat. This isn't about me being, like, a sensitive guy and being like, how could someone say that? It's just a discussion that I've needed to have on stream for a while. Like, this is something that I've wanted to discuss for a good while. Just this whole situation where, as I've mentioned many times before, I've really kind of set out on trying to make the world a better place, and streaming is one of the ways. That's one of the reasons that I had started streaming, was to be a good influence. This is a conversation I needed to have for a while. This was a discussion that needed to be had. Don't know how to love others because they never had anybody that saw them that. Love is the greatest power. Yeah, that probably is a good case right there, or a good example of where that probably was, where they're either neglected or abandoned or abused. Like, people that are that receive such a lack of love don't know how to give it then, and it really becomes an unfortunate situation that the world can develop people like that, or the fact that children are even born who are unwanted. Guess they have no one to turn to, know that feeling, love, no force. And Haunt, I mean, you're very hard to offend or annoy. Anyone can call you anything, you won't give a fuck, mainly because they can't do anything to you that's physically hurting you, so why care for a few words? Others always stick up for others, though, always. Yeah, I realize that words like that won't affect everyone, but as long as it affects even one life, then it's a very important issue. If mean words over the internet can affect even just one person from going into a depression or even committing suicide, then it's an important matter. Why, who came into your lobby to hate on you? Oh, it was just that killer who caught me once, camped the whole time, and then they basically came in here. They said they weren't even gonna read what I was saying, and then they came in here to say even more. Which, like, they disconnected the lobby, and as we were discussing before, I guess that's... They got so much lashing out, but then when they noticed that I stream as well, they realized that they could get more. when it comes to like embracing that kind of darker side and getting the feel for it, I feel like people like that, probably almost gives them a high. Like, it's something that they feel good doing. It's something that feels right to them, almost natural, second nature, if that's something that they're regularly doing. So that's why this last person here, where after being in the lobby there and throwing insults wasn't enough, after they close it out, like, I'm not even gonna read that. Why? Even though they said I'm not even gonna read that, they came in here on on 2 different accounts, actually, it seems, to lash out even more. Like, it helps fuel them, I guess. And if that's the case for someone that ever attacked me and I was there in person, like, pinning them down with them not able to do anything, unlike here where they can just leave anytime, then honestly I would force them to tell me their story. I would force them to tell me who they are, why they got to where they are, and what I can do to help. I would not leave there without hearing that. Like, it's very important to me to make sure that people get the help that they need. That was a weird sentence. It's very important to me that I help people to get the help that they need to help make this world a much better place. That's what I've set out to do by even existing in the first place. Like, I had mentioned much earlier in this conversation that when I was little, I thought I shouldn't even exist in this world after I learned what a bad influence people are on the world, how awful they are to each other, the planet, everything in the environment, all the other creatures on it. I honestly thought that, like, with all the trash, pollution, and stuff that I would cause during my life, that I'd be better off not existing. And then I decided that I would keeping on, if I devoted my life, like, as my goal to spreading positivity, and that's part of what streaming is. So, yeah. Yeah, obviously what you said is very situational. Josh and Ellie, yeah, your friend's parents died when he was young and he lost himself for a long time, but now he's a lawyer. I'm so proud of him. Like, it's really nice when people like that are able to, like, kind of rise back up, that they have the willpower to change themselves like that, that instead of just staying where they are and being all right with that, just the power to become what makes the world a better place, I guess. And do you gotta beat them up? But like with me, when I was in a depression in grade 8, I absolutely would not have gotten out of it on my own. Like, without other people there, I absolutely would have been in there for the rest of my life, honestly. There was a time in grade 8 where, like, it wasn't even that big of a deal, but it kind of turned into that. So there was a time when Harmonia was whispering you about something that happened to him on DBD while you were asleep. Once I told you, you were so mad. You're going off on some people you haven't even seen the usernames of. You always stick for others. There's no reason not to if you care for someone. It's second nature to help someone. And the thing is about so many people is they don't care about anyone but themselves, or they care just about themselves and a very select few people. But I try to make it my priority to care about everyone, because as I mentioned before in this discussion, just the value of a single life is immeasurable, honestly. But this time in grade 8, there was this one guy in my class where, like, we were kind of having an argument about right and wrong, I guess. And his argument was that every creature that is not a human is literally like an emotionless robot. They have no feeling whatsoever. They have no emotions, they feel no pain, their lives don't matter. And his argument was that all of them were just created for humans' happiness, and that we as humans are, like, kind of meant to exploit all other creatures and this planet however we please, because we are the only creatures on this planet that matter, and everything else is just for our pleasure. Basically said that humans are the only creatures that have emotion of any kind, that matter in any way, and basically stood for raping the earth, in a sense. Another time I was telling you how someone was insulting him at every turn while playing Kirby Star Allies. Yeah, that was my first playthrough that I did. Someone came in here and was insulting me in ways that didn't even make sense, just going out of their way to throw an insult at every turn. It was pretty pathetic. and you try to care for people, but your nature is you just push away if they're a dick to others. Yeah, I feel like when someone comes into the chat here, then that's all I can do is push away, because I don't have them there with me in person. That's all I'm capable of doing. So people that come in here to chat, if I say that I'm going to try to help them, they're not going to take me seriously. They're going to go off on me and they're going to leave. But if I had someone there in real life in front of me, an individual standing in front of me who I have influence over there with words or even force if it comes to that, I would try to help them if I can. And this happened before you came to the channel, by the way. Yeah. Your conclusion is, guys, I got your back, thanks. And that's not right. If I'm absolutely, it's not. And like, I've always prided myself on loving every creature of this planet and just being super kind to animals, I guess. That's why, as I mentioned before, every year on my birthday, I go and I donate money to my local humane society and animal shelter, where like there's plenty of dogs and cats and other creatures that can get adopted from there after they've been rescued or left there when no one else will care for them. So like, hearing this after I had literally done this all my life, it wasn't always money all my life. When I was in elementary school, every single one of my birthdays, I wouldn't ask for things from me. I would ask for dog and cat toys, and then when people would bring those in, I would go bring those to the Humane Society and I'd donate them all. I thought that it was something really cool for me to do, I guess. But because of what a person I am with that kind of a thing, when I was little, I always used to say I wanted to grow up to be an environmentalist. Whatever that means for an occupation. But like, with that being so much of my worldview, hearing that, the fact, like, I had never heard such an opinion up to that point. So little grade 8 me, hearing that for the first time, that someone could think in such a backwards and arrogant way, it tore me apart, really. And thanks all for having my back, I appreciate it. But yeah, this person, when I heard that, young me realizing that someone could think such a way, it completely tore me apart, like, just inside. But what really tore me apart from there was the fact that even though a bunch of friends of mine had heard that, none of them sided with me. This other person there was kind of considered the more popular one, I guess. So even though his view there was clearly backwards, warped, and completely arrogant, all my friends turned against me, basically. I don't even know why I considered a lot of them friends. They would never even really talk to me, but that's who I considered friends when I was young, because I had no one else, basically. Even my best friend at the time, this guy that I would hang out with all the time, I'd go over to his house sometimes to hang out with him and such. He's the one that turned against me the most. He was my best friend at the time, and he basically turned into a massive jerk who started bullying me. So it was because of all this stuff combined that I basically fell into a depression. I felt like I couldn't trust anyone at all. Like, everyone had turned against me. I felt like there was no one who cared about me in the world. So every single time that there was like any event of any kind with a group of people, I would always go sit on the side and not say anything. I would have my head down. I would just wait the whole time. I wouldn't even have a phone out. I would just sit there and wait for it to be over until it eventually was. And sorry, but you won't not save a shark story? What? And you wanted to be a paleontologist, but you was bought. You were born late. I don't quite understand, I'm sorry. But anyway, with this, was it in grade 7 that started then? Because it lasted for like almost a full year. So it lasted a while. I wouldn't open up to anybody. I wouldn't explain to anybody what my problem was, pretty much. Because there was no one that I could go to. There was no one that I could trust anymore. Everyone had turned against me. So what had happened was, in grade 8, I was in this German German bilingual program. So all the way from before kindergarten to grade 12, we would be taking German classes, and we'd be expected to kind of be relatively fluent at the end. So like, I have my Sprach diploma now, which lets me take school or work in Germany, so that's neat. But anyway, it was slowly going through this whole program of German bilingual that in grade 8, we go on a German exchange trip, which we'd fundraise for like all the years coming up to grade 8, I guess. So this German exchange trip, it was 1 week in Germany with our German exchange partner, whoever we'd be assigned to, and then 1 week of just traveling around Germany. So the week while we're with our partner was like staying in their house, kind of being a part of their family, I guess. And then the German exchange students came like a few months later. Yeah, like 2 months later, something like that. And they got to stay with us for 2 weeks, and then they ventured around Canada for a week. And while I was there in Germany and met my German exchange partner, Aaron, he was this super nice guy. His family had only just met me, but they kind of took me in as one of their own there. They were honestly the nicest family that I'd ever met in my life. But so them I was kind of friendly around and kind of happy around. But when it came to doing events as the whole group with the class, I was still completely closed out, because everyone there I saw as a traitor that was not to be trusted, that they were all out to get me in some sort of a way. But it was when the exchange students were in Canada here that there was a few events where my exchange partner had noticed that I seemed to be a bit off, that I wasn't acting like I normally was, like around him and stuff like that, where I became like a completely different person who was shut out to the world, pretty much. And he had asked me a few times, like pretty strictly, like what was wrong, but I wouldn't even open up to him. So it was like when there was only a few days left, something like that, of the kind of exchange, where it was an event at someone's house specifically. It was in their backyard, and it was like a potluck kind of thing. And I really did not want to go to that. I was like, what the heck is the point of even going to a random classmate's house as a group? Like, it's the most useless thing there was. So I very, very much did not want to go to that. But we wound up going to it anyway. And you pressed entered. Just put the statement together. Sorry, I'm dumb. Sorry, I'm really dumb, I guess. But traitor, that changes your perspective on this quite a lot. Yeah, it was especially who was my best friend before then, who had really turned traitor on me, who like became a massive jerk. And then in high school, from what I heard, apparently he started like selling drugs and stuff. He went down some really dark paths from what I hear. But anyway, it was during this event at this house that I basically found this box in a corner to go sit on, just in the corner of this yard. So pushed enter too soon, so the statement got cut off. Oh, okay, I get it. Sorry. But yeah, I found a place to just go sit down and be alone. So there was a corner, and then there was a box in it. So I was facing one way, and then there was like an empty way facing the other way. Oh, drug dealer, Welpy's going to hell. But anyway, I went and found this box and faced one of the two ways that I could choose there. And I just sat down there and waited. And about half an hour went by. And a few people had come up to me asking, is everything all right? And I said, like, fine. Like, everything's fine. Stuff like that. And the people who were there, like the regular people in my class, they hear that, and then I guess something in their head would just go off like, okay, he's fine, and then they'd leave me. Like, what good friends, I guess. That's what really made me hate them, I guess. Where it's like, that's all you're gonna inquire? Are you all right? Fine. Okay, bye. But my German exchange partner, these people in my class, I had known like all my life, most of them since before kindergarten, in die kleine Kinderschule it was called for German. But this German exchange partner who had only known me like less than 2 weeks at that point, he barely even knew me as a person. I may as well have just been a stranger to him. He comes up to me and he asks me if everything's all fine. And like I say, that's fine. And like he inquires again, he's like, are you sure about that? I'm like, yes, I'm sure about that. And he doesn't believe me. He doesn't buy it. So instead of going and interacting with all the others, the biggest impact thing that he could have possibly done, which is what he did, was that side that was facing nothing, the other side that I could have taken, that's the side that he sat down on. And he didn't say a word. After like the second kind of question there, he didn't say a word. He just walked by me and sat right beside me on the same box. So then it was my turn to ask the questions. And I was like, what are you doing? And he was like, I'm just staying here then. And I was like, you should go and be with others. You shouldn't be here with me. This isn't your place. This isn't what you should be doing. And it was his turn to be the one pushing away. So he was saying no every time. I was basically begging him to go and leave me be. And he said no. He refused. He wouldn't leave me. He just sat right beside me in silence there for like 2 hours as I was quietly sobbing to myself that a person that was basically a complete stranger to me would even do such a thing. Like, I don't really know what else to say about that. And the sad part is he never even found out what the problem was until I admitted it to him like a year later. You respect this man? This man is someone you want to be. This guy's friend. Yeah, he was easily the nicest person I've ever met, I must say. But yeah, he refused to leave. I feel like I might have been making a bit of a scene by both of us just being there and waiting, and me kind of sobbing to myself for a couple hours. But yeah, a true friend, absolutely. He barely even knew me, but yet he did that for me. It just really blew me away. Where, again, back to the original conversation where some people have the willpower to go and change themselves. To still keep in touch today. We tried to. He was supposed to actually come to Canada this year after so many years and visit here for a while, but now it seems like things have gotten complicated and that he won't be able to, unfortunately. But we rarely ever communicate anymore. But ever since that day, still every single year, we always send each other like gift boxes of things for Christmas, actually. Like he always sends me Germany stuff that I can't get anywhere else, like German gummies, like this right here. This is actually from him right now. Some Haribos. Haribo macht Kinder froh. Das Original seit 1922. Goldbeeren, 1 Kilogramm. Und Erwachsene ebenso. Liebe Haribo-Fans, sorgfältig ausgewählte Zutaten und eine seit mehr als 90 Jahren ständig verbesserte Rezepte, I can't read that, machen die Goldbeeren zu einem ganz besonders einzigartigen Vergnügen. The thing about Haribos is you can buy them here, but they suck. They make them differently here. I don't know how, but they just don't include like some sort of a flavoring component or something like that. You can buy Haribos here in Canada and other places, I guess, but they're just awful. You get them in Germany, they're like the best gummies ever made. I don't know what's different about the recipe, but they changed something. So usually in that box every year, he usually sends me like 1 kilogram of these Haribos. So yeah. Quick, make a GoFund account to fly him to Canada. Canada. Oh man. Yeah, that's nice though, German gummies. We have those in America, I'm pretty sure. But they suck though. They're not good. They're not good unless you buy them in Europe, honestly. I don't know what they do differently about the recipe, but it's something. You buy them, like, in this area here of the world, then they're alright. Like, they're kind of meh, they're just kind of average gummies, but you get them in Germany and they're, like, the greatest things ever made, honestly. But yeah, he actually stopped into the stream once. If you look down my follow list, it's Aragon something. But yeah, back to the original conversation of, like, some people have the willpower to kind of fix their lives for the better, to make the effort to get there, to do that, to kind of change themselves in such a dramatic way, like your friend there did, Josh and Dal. And then there was people like me, which is a lot lesser of a thing. It wasn't as big a deal as that friend. In fact, my deal probably wasn't all that big an issue at all. My mind just kind of made it a big issue, I guess. But there's people like me where they need someone else. They need someone to extend that helping hand. And if no one does that, then said person will be just trapped in whatever hell they've stuck themselves in for like the rest of their lives. So a lot of these people that are so outlashing to others any of the time to have gotten there in some way, if chances are that if no one is going to be the one to extend that hand to help them, that they may just be stuck there forever, potentially. So that's why if someone ever attacked me, even if it was a knife, if I was able to bring them down into a position where they can't do anything, like an arm bar of some sort, where they're completely down at my mercy, that's why I would inquire. That's why I would force them to tell me their stories, and that's why I would try to extend that hand, whether they want it or not. Like, that, when I was in that situation, I did not want anyone to help me. I wanted everyone to stay away from me and for them to mind their own business because my problems were none of their concern. I did not want help. I felt like I was where I deserved to be. So that's why if I had the chance to help someone who was in a position where they're doing such awful things, if they just come into the Twitch chat to harass me, then there's nothing I can do about that, because then they'll just do it more and leave. They're not at my mercy there. But if someone was like in a position of complete unempowerment, if that's even a word, just completely at my mercy there, I would, whether they wanted it or not, I would force them to tell me their story so I could determine what it takes to help fix their lives, what I would do. Meh, thanks, Carvia. Yeah, that's one of my accounts there. And I'll read this. And instant 20 grand donation to do so. And Haribo suck here, but leave them in a car and they smell good. Huh. Weird. And from you specifically, Haunt. Yeah, so proud. Don't have that kind of money. You can only support 20 bucks. That's fine then. Not needed. You'll keep that. But, in all honesty, if I knew you outside of Twitch and lived in Canada, you would have been there too, 100%. Would have forced you to tell me what's wrong, help you from there. I appreciate it, Haunt. And look, you got a green mail thing on Steam. Yeah, I sure did, didn't I? Neat. Big fan. Thanks, man. Some people cannot be saved if they're too far gone. Well, you don't know until you try, though. I'm very certain that that's true. But if there's even a chance to help them, like, get to a place that'd be so much better for them and for people around them, whether it's friends, family, or completely random strangers, then I have to try. I'm not gonna take a chance on something like that. Big fan. Like, even if it's just a 1% chance, I'd still try. Just because of the value of even just one life. Never mind the lives that life will affect. Like, you very much affect the world around you in many different ways. Very many different ways indeed. While we're on the topic of talking about positivity, while we just finish this discussion and kind of wrap it up, something else that I want to mention when it comes to helping to make the world a better place is something that the head instructor of my Taekwondo school, he only talked to us about this once. It was after a class, and he was kind of taking some extra time to discuss something with us that he found to be really important. So he gathered us all around, and this has been an hour and 10 minutes of this type of conversation. Yeah, so I'll wrap it up here. But what he wanted to discuss with us was what was happening in the world. Like, we live in such a kind of pocket of what our own society is. We don't see what else is going on in the world with our own eyes, and so much of it isn't even covered in the news and such. There's so much going on that you don't know about unless you really look into it. And even then there's still so much that you don't know about. You're proud of me. You take this kind of stuff incredibly seriously. Thanks, man. But what he had said is, like, this is something that he'd been thinking about. This is something that he'd been taking into meditation recently, is everything else about the world. With Taekwondo, when we receive our black belts, we take an oath. And the very final part of that oath is, I will use Taekwondo to help bring peace to the world. And what our instructor there had taken into meditation recently was, like, he was trying to be positive and make the world a better place, but in meditation what he was considering is that it seemed very much like when he was thinking of making the world a better place, is he was thinking very much about our own city, is that's where he was having his influence there. Whereas, like, when we took our oath, it wasn't, I will use Taekwondo to help bring peace to my own city. It was to bring peace to the world. So what he was contemplating was what that truly means. Like, what does it truly mean to help bring peace to the whole world? So what he had done is he had taken the time to look into what all is going on in the world right now. So, like, he had talked to us about several things that was happening in the world right now, that, and whether we knew it beforehand or not, some of the things were like the genocides that are going on, people being completely slaughtered in some places of the world. There are some places where young women are just taken from their homes and sold into the sex trade to be raped. And considering that what he wanted to discuss with us at the end of that class, what he kind of requested that we do, is to put our thoughts out, that kind of thing. Where, like, this isn't something that he mentioned, but something that I know myself. Your thoughts literally do have an effect on the world. This world is seeming more mysterious all the time. Like, the more answers we get, the more magical the world honestly seems. And the world literally behaves differently, whether or not you're looking at it, and it behaves differently depending on what you're thinking about. And if a lot of people are thinking about the same thing, that literally does have an influence on the world. This has been proven pretty much. Like, they have random number generators that are set up all around the globe, and they're constantly randomly generating numbers. And what scientists want to do is see when the randomly generated numbers stop being so random, basically. And when this happens is basically when major world events happen, when people all around the globe are thinking about the same thing. 9/11 was an example. When that event occurred, all these random number generators started giving a lot more of the exact same number more often. They didn't seem very much like they were random number generators anymore. It seemed a lot more determined because people all around the globe were thinking about this same thing. So it's when, like, the more people that there are that are thinking about the same thing, that it literally does affect the world. So what he was discussing with us is, he said, put your thoughts out to them. I'm not saying to pray. Doesn't matter if you're religious or not. I'm just saying put out your thoughts to them. And he talked about the placebo effect, how your thoughts will affect, well, the placebo effect itself is known for affecting yourself, but with this proof of the random number generators and thoughts literally having an effect on the world itself, I'm beginning to honestly believe that the placebo effect isn't just something on yourself. And just in case anyone doesn't know, the placebo effect is when you think something is gonna happen to you and it actually does. Like, if you take a pill that has nothing in it, no medicine, and a doctor tells you this is gonna help you feel better, people will start feeling better. It's a placebo. Like, your own thoughts about what will occur affect it. Like, people who are positive about their lives will live longer, and people who are negative will die earlier. Like, that's literally been shown. It's something we looked at in my psychology class. So he had mentioned the placebo effect. So he's like, it doesn't even have to be in a religious way. You don't have to go and, like, pray for people around the world. Just put your thoughts out to them. Like, no matter what you believe in, because it does have an effect on the world. It's a placebo. So just take the time from time to time, whether it's in meditation or lying in bed, to just put your thoughts out to those in need around the world, because there's so many of them. So that's a request from me as well, is just from time to time, it doesn't have to be that long, even if you're just laying in bed, just take the time to think about what's going on in the world and just to hope for better to hope that it all gets solved, that it improves, that a difference happens. You don't have to like go out to where the problems are and do everything you can to solve it. Just take the time from every once in a while to put your thoughts out to what's going on, because it does affect the world. Anyway, what was this all that I had missed here? No idea how much you rescans. I assume that's misspelled. Admire a standard like that. Oh, respect a standard like that. F, what? What's the F for respects for? Some people want the world the way it, yeah, their way, and they don't care about each other. Yeah, that, again, with people being raised a certain way, I guess, where their experiences have brought them to that somehow. It's really unfortunate. Personally, I think the more answers we get, the more questions are raised. Yep, absolutely. Think about that. We still don't know even half of what's in the oceans. Only 5%. Yeah, the oceans are pretty crazy, but I'm just talking about like the nature of the world itself. Like, we still don't even understand magnetism, what caused it. We understand that it's a force, we can predict it and such, but when it comes to why magnetism is a force that even exists, no one knows. Like, it's just a complete mystery. Why these magnets are sticking on the side of my fridge. We know how to make magnets, we know how to do everything about them, but why this force is a thing that exists in the universe, no one knows. It's like a magic force. But take a bunch of shit to space, but we still don't know about the oceans and our own planet. Yep. An effect that absolutely terrifies you every day is the butterfly effect. That's some scary shit. That sounds familiar, but I'm not 100% sure I recall what it is. I'm sorry. Think that we check in space because we are sort of okay with the motion, but space is massive. Yeah, like any moment we find an object or asteroids, anything could happen. This is true. But yeah, the world is seeming more and more mysterious all the time. Like, I don't know if you all have heard about general relativity and how it makes it possible to travel to the future, but we still don't know how to go back. Einstein's theory of general relativity, the time and space are intermingled, they're one thing, they're space-time, and it's like northwest. If you're going at the same speed and you start going more west, then you're going less north. It's the same thing with space-time. The more you travel through space, the less you travel through time. So astronauts who are orbiting around the Earth are literally a few seconds younger than if they would have stayed on the planet. The people have tested this with, what's it called? Not nuclear timers. Quantum clocks? No. Atomic clocks. They've tested it with atomic clocks, which are really precise clocks, where they've flown it around the world, left ones on the ground, and compared the time, and noticed that's different. It's exactly as they had predicted, really. The more you travel through space, the less you travel through time. So let's say you sent a shuttle to orbit around a black hole for like a few weeks. Who knows, they could be like 100 years in the future. Fun fact. So there's all kinds of weird, mysterious stuff. The world is seeming more and more magical all the time. The world is affected whether or not you're looking at it. Like with quantum science. If particles, it's either particles or photons, might be both. Something like that. If particles are fired at two little slits, like if you have a particle gun and you have two slits in a wall and you're looking at it, or a camera's looking at it, then they'll form on the other side exactly like you'd expect them to, just in piles behind the slits. But if you're not looking at it and you just measure where they landed afterwards, then they land on like the back wall past the slits as if they were a wave, like almost waves of water or waves of sound, stuff like that. Waves of any kind, I guess, where it's like most right in the middle, nothing. A lot but less, nothing. Less, nothing. Less, nothing. Less, nothing. Kind of like that. That's how they land if you're not measuring it. So what people have predicted is that if you're not looking at these particles being fired at the slits, if it has a 50-50 chance to go through each slit, then it will go through both slits at once. And then when you measure it, if you measure it right that second, then the universe will decide, okay, it's either this one or that one that it goes to. It'll decide then. But if you're not looking at it, it'll do each possibility, which is where the multiverse theory really came from, I guess. So, like, the world is such a mysterious place. Butterfly effect is an effect completely based on time. Say you're late to work and hear a car crash a few seconds beforehand. If you weren't late to work, logic would have guaranteed you being in said car crash. Everything happens for a reason, and the butterfly effect supports that a lot. Hopefully that makes sense. That's something I may have to look into later. Make sneezes. Something I'll have to look into later, since that's the kind of stuff that I kind of like to look into. But yeah, the world is such a mysterious place. It's seeming more and more magical all the time. It's seeming more and more like wizardry, honestly. It's seeming more like a storybook all the time, honestly. Some mysterious world. I don't really know what to believe when it comes to the world, honestly. When it comes to like deep held beliefs of my own, like in terms of like religion, stuff like that, there's nothing that I have really put my faith into. But with all this stuff that is being revealed all the time about the world, I don't think that there's an explanation that explains it all, but I'm very confident that the world is a lot more mysterious than we now believe it is. Like, that's seeming more evident all the time. There is something a lot bigger going on to this world than we know. Whatever it is. Who knows? Butterfly effect really puts a perspective on everything you say and do. It's a very scary thing. But it's beautiful, is it not? I'm not 100% sure I still understand it yet. I'll have to look into it later, for sure. But yeah, there is something massive more to this world, but... and I don't know if we'll ever have an explanation for it. But there's something about this universe that's a thing, I guess. But yeah, one of the things, back to the original kind of thing, one of the things is your thoughts and just whatever you think literally having an effect not just on yourself but on the world around you, just from thinking it. It's been shown. So just like my head instructor, my request to everyone that's watching this is just take the time from time to time to just put out your thoughts to like those who need it, because thoughts have really been shown to literally affect the world. What with random number generators and such, it does affect things. So just take the time to do that occasionally, because even though it doesn't seem like it, it does make a difference. And also there was a time when you had this thought process granted. This was a time when you looked into anything deep you could find. What I thought was this, and I assume that'll be there. And super sorry to be off topic, but I haven't seen the new Jurassic Park movie. I haven't actually yet. I have not. I don't know if I will. And Paul Manon, did you just arrive back here, I assume? You kind of arrived in like a super serious conversation that we were having about the world and the importance of accepting one another, basically. Bubby O'Cam put more thoughts into things? What? Don't understand. But yeah, so that wraps up that discussion, I suppose. Unless anyone else has anything else that they want to add at the end. That sounds serious. Yeah, we were just basically discussing the importance of lives, the importance of your influence on other people, and how important it is to be positive to each other, I guess, to be a good influence on each other. Like how truly important it is to changing the world, I guess. It was actually an interesting discussion. I'm really glad we had it. I'm glad we had that. But yeah, if anyone has anything else that they want to add here, then now's the time, because I'm kind of wrapping up this discussion. But yeah, that was a good discussion. Thanks for having that with me, everyone. I appreciate it. Thanks for sticking around for my serious rant. It's the biggest rant I've had in a stream before. That went on a while, didn't it? See, if you had bits, you would have donated and said, no, you. Sounds like I said something pretty radical. Yeah, we've been discussing for like about an hour, and for the people here that were listening, I hope it really put a new perspective and spin on things. I hope it really like helps you think differently. So scrolling up to the beginning of that was, this was a time when you looked into anything deep you could find. What I thought was that it was just the thought that one day me and everyone that you love will die, and in just 200 years no one is going to remember you. So what's the point of doing anything if you'll die and no one will care? And in the grand scheme of the universe, you don't even matter. Nothing you do will impact this world, just another link in this chain called the circle of life. So guess at the time you were kind of depressed. Yeah, I've had that kind of thought process as well, where, as I mentioned before, where it was like super long ago, where I had thought, where like I am literally not gonna do anything to this planet but negative stuff. What's the point in being here? Where that was kind of another thing that I thought about later, where why does living even matter then in the first place? And it matters because they're like, even when the day comes when no one will remember you as a person, what you leave behind will still have an effect on the world. How you behave, and as we were talking before about the importance of being a positive influence on other people, what you leave behind will change the world in one way or another. So it's your choice what you want that to be. So you have to decide for yourself, what is it that you want to leave behind? Because everyone will die one day, so when you're gone, what is it that you want to leave behind you? What kind of path do you want to help push the world forward to? What path do you want to help steer this crazy vehicle on, basically? But you're still... And that was a great talk, thanks Josh and L. But still up and down with anything and everything. Yeah, if that's something that you'd like be willing to discuss at some point, then that's something I'd happily take this time to discuss with you. Honestly. Like, it's the kind of stuff that I really like speaking to people about and helping them sort things out. And no joke, all memes aside, that's the deepest thought you've ever had in your life and still goes to this day. Yeah, when it comes to the grand scheme of the universe, like the fact that the whole universe is going to be gone one day, your actions right now really don't matter. Completely honestly, they don't. They have no meaning at all. But because of the fact that more people are going to exist until then, far after your life is done, lots of people are still going to continue to exist. That's why it matters. That's why it's important to be the best that you can be, leave behind a good legacy, and help steer this world to a positive path. Because of the sake of others that are going to continue existing until the end of everything. That's why it's important. And I feel you, Haunt Pats. But yeah, in the story of your own life, what you're doing, if you want to be completely honest, it really doesn't matter. But when it comes to the other people that you'll be affecting, that's why it matters so much. Because it's not just like your own thing that's going on. Because kill Paul went on, no one will give him a good to know loads gun. That's, you know, again, other people. As far as we know, like as far as we can prove, this is all we have, so let's make the best of it. Basically. Help me, I love, but it's your own problem that you gotta fight yourself, though it's a stalemate for now. Okay, well, if it's anything that I can like help out with anymore, then definitely let me know. It's because as mentioned as I've mentioned before, it's something very important to me that I help however I can. No matter what that means. Like, speaking of, I guess. But yeah, anyone here, honestly, not just Anima. If you do need to talk about something serious, then that's something that I will absolutely hear you out on. To anyone. Or it's something that I've set myself to do. It's what I've like devoted my life to, I guess. It's just helping make the world a better place, bringing peace to people's lives if I can. So if anyone does have anything super serious to speak of me out to me with me of, I can't speak today, then I'll happily, you know, try to help out as best I can. Modi's a good egg, thanks man. But yeah, so that wraps up that discussion. That was unplanned. That was something that I was not planning on having today, but it needed to be said at some point. This is a discussion I need to have on stream one day anyway. And maybe later? Alright. But yeah, things I wanted to get off my chest as my emotions, I guess. In a sort. What now is the question. Ow! I don't know why my right elbow cracks sometimes when I stretch. Also, speaking of, now I'm sleepy. Also, now I'm sad, like the end of Mystery Dungeon after that discussion. It's pretty crazy indeed. Which maybe once you look into the butterfly effect more if you want to talk about more serious stuff sometimes. Dust, what the heck? Enjoy doing it, but terrifies you. But to be honest, you don't care that terrifies you, so if you ever want to whisper, use the time about serious stuff, you're always down anyway. Letting your inner thoughts known can be helpful. Yeah, definitely can. This conversation had originated from another person in DBD who just, for some reason, went out of their way to completely harass me as much as possible. Where, like, the chat after the game wasn't enough. I had said a couple things, and they were like, I'm not even gonna read that. Like, I'm not gonna waste my time with that. And then, when it came to wasting their time, they came into the Twitch chat on 2 different accounts after the first one was banned, because I still needed to harass more. So we were talking about how people get to that point, and why it's so important to be the best person that you can be, and it wound up being a long discussion. On a way lighter note, more broken ankles, smash, aces, I don't know. Vote ego death? I don't know what that is. Sometimes it's good to let out, but sometimes it's too much to handle. Yeah, like if this was something that I would have broken down on stream talking about, then yeah, that probably would have been a good idea. Though when I was talking about my German exchange partner and the kindest thing that's ever been done to me, I do admit, I don't know if the camera picked it up, but my eyes were getting pretty watery. I was honestly worried that a couple tears might come down on stream talking about him. Just like what he did for my life. I was a little bit worried about that. And now I guess I don't have to be worried about it because I just revealed that that was almost a thing anyway. But you vote for Smash. Ego death is some interesting stuff. Look it up later. Okay, will do. Will do indeed. But yeah, after all that, that's probably enough of DBD. Honestly, is the conversation highlight worthy? I mean, I could like throw it up on YouTube as well, like as kind of a almost like a motivational speech kind of thing, and just the importance of being the best person that you can be, I guess. Like it might be something that some people might want to see if it's something that can help them. Hey man can cry. Is true indeed. But yeah, it's something that might help some people, or anybody that's here that wants to like share this discussion with someone that I think might need it. And then maybe that'd be something useful to have, so maybe I should highlight that honestly. Like if you all know anyone that you think could use that discussion, that could use that whole time that we took to really talk about really the most important things in life, I guess, then that's a thing that'd be possible. Still saying Smash if you're done with DBD.